Just about to be live now.
Okay.
Hey, it's Sarah from Close to the Earth IT Services, and I have some friends with me, big fans of beam panels. So I'm going to turn my camera around, and introduce you to a couple of really cool people that I met through beam panels. All right, so here with me I have Heather and Adrienne,
Hi.
Hey,
and we're all big fans of the Beam app. And it's so sad that it has gone off the air. What do you guys think about that?
Heather, please.
Okay. Um, so the thing that bothers or kind of upsets me and disappoints me the most is that um, I see the technology behind Beam as far as depositing one precise question and putting it out on the web, available for everybody who has the app on their phone to answer in a very succinct way as such an incredibly important communication tool. And it cuts across time zones, it cuts across languages, it cuts it, well, I mean, technically it doesn't, but everyone has to speak English. But as long as you are an English speaker, you can participate. And then the other thing is that it cuts across, political ideologies. It cuts across national kind of membership, nationality, race, everything. And then we're having this conversation about an idea. And then people who would talk too much are limited.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I like. I mean, like you said, it's got like that's the idea of the internet coming together, people from all over the world sharing thoughts on or sharing ideas on one topic. For example, I remember when they put a question about, I think it was the 1 year anniversary of Donald Trump being president. Some people were in favor of him being a president, and well, like 80% of us were not. Like the rest of the world and some people from the United States were not. But I mean, that's the idea of being. That was the idea. Like, there's people that are gonna have different opinions than yours, but you accept them as a community because they have that right for having that kind of opinion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this off.
Yeah, I agree with you too. Is I don't know, it's just been such a divisive time where people aren't getting along and just kind of getting into huge fights on social media with people that I really care about or wouldn't fight with in person or argue with in person. But when it comes to politics, everything was becoming an argument. And I got to the point where I felt like, wait, so if we're arguing so much, maybe there's a point to what other people believe, and I'm not hearing that because all we're getting is conflict. So I felt like Beam gave such a good opportunity for us all to think about things differently and care about the people who had the opinions, even if they were different or something I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, other thing that I really loved was not even in politics. We were talking about different topics, like, for example, Bitcoin. Bitcoin was one of the topics that we talk a lot in the panels. And even though that someone already asked it, there was at least one question a week about cryptocurrency. But that was also good because that topic is kind of new for everybody. And you have some IT experts, some economists, some people studying for that, some people that are already working, for example, I don't know, in Wall Street or something, and they take you step by step on what is happening. So you actually get the ideas from people that are, how to say it, experts kind of in that kind of topics. For example, when I posted about your favorite superhero, that's something that I really love. I love superheroes. I love all the pop culture, all the geek stuff. So when someone asked that kind of questions, I felt like kind of an expert talking to other group of people. That's what I really love. That you could share your thoughts, feel like you were making making kind of a talk, like a TED talk, but in 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was really, really great. Also, the opportunity that you have to pose your own questions. Like when they made the open call for the week, you posted. That's kind of also like a challenge because you have to come with a really great question. Because if you ask something kind of vague or something that they already asked, your question was never going to be published. For example,
Right.
that panel, or every single week had like 30 answers between all the panels that had only 10 answers, 20 answers, and the open week call was 40 answers, 50 answers, because everyone wanted to be on the panels. Everyone wanted to be shown their questions.
Yep.
How did that happen for you, Heather, when you asked the question for the week?
Well, I had asked. So I think I'm trying to remember the first time I was on Beam, because I was on like well over a year ago. Like I've been on for a long time. Like even when it was they didn't like ask specific questions, but you could just upload 15 seconds of your life by holding it to your chest. So this was like the very first iteration. Um, I've just been really intrigued by the idea of video. So then when we came to asking questions, of course, a teacher, I'm theoretically, you know, accustomed to this, and particularly as a writing teacher, and the way that I do my teaching is the Socratic method. So I'm constantly asking kind of open but probing questions. And so the first question that they chose for me to have as the question of the week or the question of the day was, if you're going to go swimming, are you going to go to a freshwater pond or the ocean? And so, I mean, in Maine, we can go to both on the same day several times. I mean, it's just we have so much of an opportunity, and I forget that sometimes. And then Kurt was so hilarious, of course, typical, because he was hilarious. And he talked about some sort of like a wave pool beach that they have in the middle of Oklahoma City. And, you know, even for someone who's like aware of geography, have driven across the United States, it's like, oh, yeah, that would be kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? And then I can't even remember. I think I've had like 3 or 4. I don't know. But one of them was, what do you think you're going to look back on in your life? Because I'm almost 50. And so I was talking about dancing past midnight in a West Berlin disco to Pet Shop Boys, West Side Girls, West End Girls, I mean. And, you know, like just thinking about that, like, oh, wow. At the time, I was just like, oh, this is cool. And now I'm like, wow, that was really fabulous. And we never know when we're in the moment how fabulous a memory is going to be. And so I was kind of like, I wonder if young people younger than I have any sense of what they're experiencing right now and how that's going to age. And then the most recent one was, because I tend to be like, I get into analysis paralysis and perfectionism if I'm not careful. And that was, how do you get over nervousness so that you can push through and do something? And I wanted to put in for a conference, and I did. And so it's basically like, okay, what do I have as experiences that others could relate to? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I actually answered that one, the one that where you're gonna look back when you are older. I
Yeah.
answered that for me it would be for real, for real, for real. It would be either going for the first time with my friends, because I've been a lot of times with my family, but with my friends for the first time to Disneyland, well, to Disney World. It was
Yep.
different, a complete, because it was a complete different experience going with my family than going with my friends.
Yep.
And the other one is kind of the same as you, like dancing to something in. For me was in Normandy in France. Yeah, we were
I'm a
like
his.
an hour trip for Omaha Beach, but we were
Mm-hmm.
a bit near there,
Yep.
and it was dancing three different songs: September, Boogie Wonderland, and Let's Groove Tonight by Earth, Wind and Fire in a concert there. I was like,
Oh,
I cannot believe I'm in a concert, in an Earth, Wind and Fire concert in France, not even in Mexico, in France.
yep.
It
Oh,
was
I
so
have
cute.
a Paris, but I don't want to keep Sarah. So State Creators Day concert in Paris.
yeah, sweet.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. I am trying to think of like my favorite dancing moment. There was this when I lived in New York City in the 90s, there was this like really awesome club called Life. It's kind of like a punk rock and roll club. And I just remembered stay just dancing until like the place closed at 4 in the morning every Thursday night. The Thursday night was like my dancing night. And it would just be like totally punk rock, like like the configuration of the Ramones that still was like alive, played there. And like, this band called the Toilet Boys, they had like fire and they were basically like Kiss, but just totally punk rock and glam and like amazing. So, and just like, I don't know, just being carefree in New York City as a kid, just like being like, yeah, well, not a kid, like 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel
So I was in Paris. So like I had this bad car accident when I was 20 and almost died when I was in Germany, but that's just it's not really all that interesting. But what is interesting is that right after I got out of the hospital, I was like, I'm gonna go have some fun. Not like ridiculous, reckless fun, but like really, sucking the marrow out of life, thinking of Dead Poets Society reference there. And just, I'm alive today. What am I going to do today to live? Because I am alive. This is awesome. I'm in Europe, dude. And so I went to Paris and I ended up not having any clue that it was the 100th anniversary of the Eiffel Tower. Number one cool thing. Number two cool thing, we're trucking around Paris and I look and there's this flyer for a poster that's on like a postal box for, ready for this? Paul Simon, Ladysmith Black Mambazo, Miriam Makeba, and Hugh Masekela. And so I went running. No, I didn't. I actually took the subway, but I got to the place. I got to the venue and I was like, I don't care how much the tickets are. And I threw down my credit card. And I'm not a rich kid. I've never been a rich kid. But I was like, if I don't do this, I'm going to hate myself forever. So I did. I got to see that lineup in Paris. And I also got to see the celebration of the 100th anniversary of the Eiffel Tower. And there were like fireworks and this and that. And it was all random. So thinking, like, in case Jackie gets to see this, Jackie Wine, thinking about your instinct, dude, always follow it. And anyone younger than me, always follow the instinct, as long as you're not going to end up in, like, jail or something.
And so how did you guys discover panels? Discover Beam? Like what brought you to Beam?
For me, it was totally about watching Casey Neistat. I follow his blogs like from 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I don't know how many times. I really follow his blog, and out of nowhere, he was like, "Hey, we're doing this. It's called Beam." Well, when he first started Beam, like when it was the green icon, not the one that we know right now. When it was the green one, I actually tried to enter because I really love the idea of sharing your story, but without watching your camera. I feel like putting your phone like this and talking and showing what is around you. It felt like a great idea, like really great idea. And then
Yeah.
the next iteration of Beam, where they actually ask questions and you answer them and you try to have like that communication with other people. I said, okay, this is also good because now you can talk with people from all around the globe. You can see their faces, you can see their opinions instead of just showing what's around. That's an also great idea. So the first moment I saw it, I was like, I have to join. I sent the email for being on the beta version. Well, it was kind of a beta, like it was invited. You have to be invited to be on Beam.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I don't know, like 1 week, 2 weeks before after I send it, they answer, "Hey, we love the enthusiasm. We want to see you on Beam." They send me the invite. I enter everything, and there I was on Beam. Because I really love the idea of making a video, and at the end of the video, they make like this open question, and all the
Yeah.
people from the app answer their questions. It makes you more like you are part of the video instead of going onto a YouTube channel and you answer in the comments, because there are gonna be 1,000 comments, 10,000 comments, 100,000 comments. Probably they will never see your comment unless you're one of the first ones, maybe. But having that opportunity to be on one of the videos of a big platform like Beam or Casey Neistat, for example, it's huge. It was huge. Like your opinion can be heard. Even if it's just 5 seconds, 10 seconds, but it could be heard. That's what really drives me to getting into Beam.
How about you, Heather?
Sorry about the stuff in
Your
the
family's
background.
calling you.
Yeah, family goes on. So for me, it was, I got in touch with Jack pretty much ASAP as soon as I started following Casey's content, because I knew I wanted to integrate it into my classroom. Because a lot of what he was doing in his vlogs, but also some of his, feature length, or not feature length, but the longer movies, I knew that they would really inspire kids, but also that there would be some currency with the literature that we read. And so I didn't want to just randomly do that. I wanted to ask permission. And so I just sent a DM to Jack. I was like, "Hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. What do you think?" And then we started chatting, and we've been chatting ever since, which is really cool. And so that's how I ended up getting to be part of Beam, or the Beam panelists and the beta testers, because they knew that I was in it because of, how Casey uses the phrase "story is king."
Yeah.
That's his kind of credos, as it were. And, I teach creative writing, and writing is my specialty within the reading, writing, speaking, listening, critical thinking habits of work within the whole English spectrum. Writing is what I'm about. And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, he is doing for this generation what I do on the page, kind of thing. And it's interesting because, Lou from the news channel, Lou Folia, I just asked him recently, I'm like, "Hey, is it okay with you if I use the flu episode to teach how to do a research essay?" And like 2 days later, I'm not even kidding, 2 days later, out comes this article from like one of the cutting edge education writing magazines. "We should use YouTube essays to teach the research essay." And I was like, what? So I sent this to Lou. I'm like, dude, apparently we're progressive.
That's awesome.
So that's it. I mean, I've just been using their content in my classroom. It works. So there you go. How about you, Sarah?
Well, we just have like 10 minutes left because I'm using the free version of Zoom. Thank you, Zoom. Thanks, Zoom Meeting, for the free version of the software. But yeah, I wasn't feeling well one weekend, and I just started watching Casey Neistat. And I work in IT, so I only use YouTube, or have to this point, only for learning how to fix things, like how to take an iPhone apart and put it back together again. YouTube. But somehow I stumbled on YouTube as entertainment, which I was like, I didn't even know this existed. And just the tech behind Beam was like really interesting to me. Like, how did they make this? Hey, we've got somebody coming. Hey.
No way.
Oh, this is awesome.
New Zealand, Mexico, California, and Maine.
See, Beam, you did it.
Hey, D-Man.
D-Man is here. How you doing?
Is it?
Yeah, this is epic. We just have a few minutes left because we didn't pay for this meeting software.
Sorry, it took me a while to work this all out.
Hi.
So, D-Man, tell us about how you found Beam. Like, how did you get on Beam?
I think through most people, through Casey Neistat. I'd subscribed to his channel years ago through the bike lanes story. I'm a commuting cyclist, and that resonated with me. It was a crazy, insane video to sum up the frustration. And then one day, all these videos just started appearing on my subscription list, and he'd started daily vlogging. I couldn't remember who he was. I ignored it for maybe a week as it kept clogging up my subscription thing, and then I started watching it, and it was amazing. There were daily vloggers. I was probably following some skateboarding vloggers at that time, but he was doing something that was quite different. And I feel a bit old to be like a fanboy of things, but every now and then I latch onto a personality. And I was not an early adopter of things. I've got an iPhone, but normally I'd get offcasts from friends that would really get into the technology and stuff first. And this guy, Casey Neistat, was on a whole bunch of different platforms, and I was really interested in what he was doing. So by extension, I started joining all these other social media platforms that I'd never done before. And of course, the reason why he was daily vlogging is he was building up an audience so that he could promote Beam, this thing that he was developing, which I actually just posted a video to YouTube. It's kind of long, but it kind of sums up a lot of this. But I was a little bit disappointed at first. I wasn't expecting like a Snapchat type experience. I thought maybe a phone video editing app that might have been a perfect fit with a videographer. And it was something else. And actually, there's a long journey there. But I guess I represent the first community of just really passionate beamers, daily vloggers, basically. And there's a lot of emotion tied up in that because obviously when something shuts down and you're that heavily invested in it. But I wanted to give Beam another go, and I still liked some of the team members there, Jack especially, and so I wanted to get in on the beta testing side of things. I'd actually applied formally a bit earlier, and I got in and started testing it there. As you guys would be aware, there were some bugs with the. But I can only speak as an Apple user. I've just, in some of the comments appearing on my YouTube, it reminds me that there's a core group that are actually Android users, and things are so much harder for them in any of the technology sector, because Android is a bit complicated. They get the least love. So I think just obviously Beam's just shut down panels yesterday, but they were getting to a better place. It was getting a bit easier to use, so long as you didn't try and scroll back too far to look at past stories and so on. And I felt I've got a background in journalism, so I felt that they had a potential thing here.
Yeah.
I don't think it got leveraged as well, and obviously there's a disconnect between the YouTube, the Beam News side of things, and there's some dissatisfaction with the CNN side of things as well. So that's unfortunate, but I just thought a time with an app and YouTube, which is, I mean, that's no one's beating that platform at the moment. That they would have been on to a winner, especially for someone like CNN that's spread as far as they are and desperate for a youth market. I got to say, one thing I did notice about the original app was while everyone's trying to chase the youth audience, there was quite a significant group of people around my age that weren't in their 20s basically, and it just seemed like a marketer's dream that no one's actually targeting that market, and we are the ones with experience and so on, and I guess a bit of the spending power as well. And so I guess I try not to get too insulted about when they talk about their marketing plans and stuff, and it's always about the Snapchat culture and so on. And I actually think there's something sorely lacking in that, and also the thing that built the Beam family in the first place was, which we don't have with Beam panels, the ability to talk to each other. Essentially what we're doing now, we're having a video conversation, there's others tapped in, and everyone can see what's going on. With the original Beam app, you could leave at the end phase, video reactions, but anyone else going into view that video could see all those video reactions, and it just prompted it's so different from Twitter comments or YouTube comments or whatever, which can get just stupidly nasty. It builds up people are more respectful. They're polite, and because of that, you're developing friendships with people that are at the complete opposite end of the political spectrum or whatever. They don't have the same core beliefs as you, but you actually find out that you can be friends with someone like that you'd never imagined before. And I kind of felt that Beam Panels was just starting to tap into that. You know, it was an area where you could put up something about Trump, very, very, very divisive subject, and you could still have a conversation there and see, there's you could be still civil about it.
Well, we're gonna get cut off any minute.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you, Beam Team. Does anybody else want to say any words of thanks before we get cut off?
Be right back. Have to show something to D-Man. Something.
Alrighty.
We're probably gonna get cut off in just a few seconds, but this has been awesome. Yeah. I like
you guys, can you see this?
Yeah, I have one too.
Somewhere around here, I have my Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high sticker too. But
Quick,
I'll send you guys.
Favorite team from all the world.
Oh, that's awesome.
My favorite.
Love it.
Love it.
Nice one. You've made a good choice. That's the national rugby team right there.
Yes.
So we're gonna get cut off in like
and
seconds.
That is so cool.
Okay, so that was it. That was our thank you message from the Beam panelists to the Beam team. And Beam is just so incredible. It was, I hate to say was incredible because it just, I don't know, I guess I'm in a little bit of denial that it's over. But you all did just such an epic job creating this community of people who genuinely can have a conversation now, no matter where they're from in the world. And that's really epic. So thank you, Beam Team. Thank you so much for the hard work, the dedication, for what you've done for world peace, because you have done something to make the world a better place, and we love you for it. Thank you.